Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Prussia run. We are already the North German Federation, and what we will be working on today is hopefully getting a few steps closer to forming Mega Germany. We are not going to click this Form Germany button until we can get maximal support from everyone. So this button, we're not going to be clicking it just yet. Last episode, we formed the North German Fed, and we got stuck in a war that was going on for some time. We're in the patch 1.5 open beta, and I realized why that war got, and the war before it were like immortal slogs, because morale depletion is currently not working in this iteration, and so that's why the war lasted forever. This episode, we're going to be focusing on thinking about the local economies and this sort of thing, and the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to move the capital from Brandenburg over to Saxony here, and the reason for this is because Saxony has more sulfur, which is kind of a weird thing to focus on, but what we have here, we're going to stop it's not auto expanding anyways. What we have here is we want to create local supply chains for things, and in particular, usually in the capital, you want to build the universities up tall, and the reason for this is that you get increased, in the capital, you get increased political involvement, and so this allows you to juice up the Intelligentsia some. So you want or as many academics as possible, and to a lesser extent, this probably makes it so that if you were to build Arts Academy, you'd want them in the capital. So, what we're going to do is we're going to move the capital to Saxony, mainly because they have sulfur mines up at really high levels in Saxony, and what requires sulfur, or a whole lot of sulfur? It's the paper mills, which feed into government administrations and other stuff, and so we're going to move the capital to Saxony. Now, I'm not 100% sure this is like the best choice or this sort of thing, but I just wanted to explain some of the logic behind it, and so we're going to click the buttons and do the things and move the capital. State actions, change capital, we're going to move to Saxony, which is going to cause some bureaucracy problems. We're also going to, at the back of the queue here, expand the universities here up to 31, which is the current economies of scale, and we'll just keep this 21 kicking around for now, but we'll probably look to size it down over the course of time, and then we'll continue to look for more ways to kind of try and optimize what's going on here. I think that the first point of ingress is going to be, we're already making a lot of money, and looking to see where has the really low upkeep for construction can be a good way of trying to identify good states to build in. So we see we have Hanover not cost a lot. Of course, Westphalia doesn't cost a lot. We'll add this already maxed up, but we were already building in Westphalia and already kind of had a strategy for Westphalia. But if we take a look at Hanover, while it is cheap to build up here, we see that it does not have, coal. So we'll take another look here. We are specifically looking for places with iron, wood, and coal. We definitely want all three. I believe Hesse has all three. So we'll get started in Hesse, which notably does have some problems as far as the infrastructure goes. But I'm thinking this is going to employ up. They're going to use the gas streetlights, which is going to give some infrastructure. So maybe this is not an imminent problem, and it also looks like they're picking up a railroad here. We'll want them on wooden passenger carriages as well. But we see here, hey, they have coal mines, iron mines, and sulfur and wood. And so what we will do here is we're going to add a few construction sectors, and we will start trying to build a little bit tall here in Hesse. And with this, we will be able to, go into the steel, and lead would be preferable to sulfur because eventually we're going to get on glassworks, but it's really overall not that big a deal. So that will be a new place that we are kind of focusing on the economic expansion, because we can't just keep building tall in Silesia, except we can a little bit, and the reason is eventually we run out of construction slots, and this is what forces you to start branching out. And so having lots of states with iron and coal is going to be pretty valuable, because this will allow you to build up, just the tools and the tools, wood, and iron loop, but then the steel and tools loop, and then eventually, the loop that is including the higher tier construction goods, where you are going from iron frame building to steel frame building. with regards to Austria, we had been improving relations with them for some time, and what I think we're going to be doing now is we are going to be bankrolling them as soon as we get the relations above poor. We see that they're almost above poor. In fact, if we just wait a couple ticks, we will likely see this come in, you know, because it is, if I'm not mistaken, it will be at minus 19. We will get off of poor and towards neutral, which will allow us to bankroll them. Significantly, we want to bankroll them because we want to get an obligation, because we would love to pull them into our market out of Russia's market. This is a little bit unusual. We've seen this a couple times now in 1.5, but they joined Russia's market. I guess the Forever War might have kneecapped them sufficiently that they got into a little bit of trouble or something like this, but we will just continue on. And now we see we're neutral with them, and so we're going to bankroll them largely to try and get on obligation, which is going to take a pretty penny, but if we can get them in the customs union, then that's going to go a long way to get them to support us. Currently, they're the only one that is not supporting us other than Luxembourg, and so, you know, getting them to support us would be really nice, because then when we click the Form Germany button, we get everything. We get the whole shebang, which of course is the goal, and so this is why we're going for this in this way. We will also be building some government administrations at the front of the queue, because we have a huge deficit, just as soon as we finish the construction sectors. I think dynamite's going to be a technology that kind of really picks up a lot, you know, kind of in 1.5, and is going to be a lot more useful, specifically because the bifurcation of the explosives building makes it much better overall, and it is much more what it's doing kind of exactly what you want, a little bit better, which is helping you transition on these PMs better. And that building in particular creates a lot of demand orders for stuff, or creates a lot of it creates a lot of buy orders, and so it really helps to develop velocity in the economy in a way that like other really efficient buildings might not necessarily do it, and we can swap up to stuff fairly well on that, and so I think that this is going to be one that we definitely want to use more often in runs, but specifically even more often when we're doing this sort of strategy where we are stacking a lot of mining modifiers and this sort of stuff, and in Germany here we are specializing in this sort of thing. Just as soon as we hit total separation, the Intelligentsia became powerful, which was pretty nice, just hitting this 20% for the 20% research speed and the extra migration attraction. We don't really have a big customs union anymore, but this is something we can look for. But now that we have total separation, getting onto stuff like Parliamentary Republic will be easier because the Intelligentsia are stronger. And I think we're going to go that route at some point, but perhaps we want to go on to Rights of Assembly first. We're just kind of checking how upset people will get at us, and it doesn't look like they get too upset. I think, in particular, Guaranteed Libs is perhaps a little bit stronger in this patch because of the way that radicalism changes have worked. Maybe we want to get on no migration controls, but I think we're going to take a clip at this and go for that as things continue. Obviously, or we haven't gotten an obligation yet. They're still antagonistic, but we're hoping we can cook something up. Yeah, just taking a look at our explosives factories, they're super profitable right now in a degree that, like, we don't see previously with chem plants, because of the fact that fertilizer was also produced. Fertilizer would also always form a huge glut, and so you would get expensive explosives and cheap fertilizer, and the buildings wouldn't be that profitable. But now we get really profitable buildings on the back end of this, and they have a lot of input goods, and we just hit the event, which made them produce more of this other stuff, which is going to make everything more profitable. You see, we are currently, I'm guessing our construction goods kind of prices collapsed a little bit. I guess they rebounded a little bit there, but you know, overall we see like iron become way cheaper here specifically, although we are digging out a ton of iron here. We see it is starting to employ down, and we're going to take off of this this railroad. Another thing in terms of balance wise, we've seen that the railroads really do not produce a lot of transportation relative to before. They have less input costs and less transportation output, which means you can't as aggressively turn on these PMs, I don't think, which is a shame because we're running out of labor here. And so this in particular is also going to affect Germany, in that I believe that the railway building throughput is going to be particularly useful because it will allow you to get more transportation to allow you to turn on these labor-saving PMs. I think it was like something, I did the math the other day, where you have to spend like 370 pops in labor on the railways to save 500 labor on something else, which seems maybe not the most efficient. Also, railways now take quite a bit longer to construct. Instead of, 450 construction, they're 800 construction. Everything got nerfed across the board, but most things got nerfed such that the 450 would have been 600, but now it's 800. And so I think that wanting to avoid building railroads might be a kind of common play pattern here. Yeah. Also, this railroad's losing money, but like we don't have a really good way to swap up just some of the PMs, because we really, like, this is really, actually, maybe we do this and this. That way we don't cause the transportation shortage, but we allow it to use the labor saving a little bit more and make this railroad a little bit more profitable. Overall, the railroads also seem a little bit tedious because it requires a lot of this local micromanagement. I hope that they put something in that could kind of help you to manage and swap PMs like kind of as needed for this sort of thing. I think we'll just do the third option here. But also, we're building up these unis, so even though we have plus money, we're about to have really not a whole lot of money. And then I think once we have them, maybe we downsize these, or maybe we wait until we clear every tech spread and then downsize them, something like this, because we are currently still spreading some tech. Yeah, this seems like a fair exchange. And also, on top of that, we were able to do 2 wars at the same time, where we got Orania to back down, and then we declared on Congo. And so we're getting 2 more wars in, while we are getting a free transfer, no infamy, of the Dutch East Indies. And of course, we put down the Sambas revolt, which is great, because it's one of our subjects. And so, we see that, this mechanic is not really too well fleshed out, at least in this iteration of the game, but that's not too big a deal. We will take... We'll just do that one, I suppose. But this is why we have, kind of had an early expansion plan that allowed us to get a lot of native interest in areas, because right now, currently, the reverse sways are so important, in terms of, let them bicker, I think. It's so important in terms of, just being able to do reverse sways. Now, I think there's a chance that we denied having a trade agreement with them. There's a chance that just in order to get Luxembourg, because they will not support us as long as they have an overlord, maybe we want to try and transfer Luxembourg or Dominion the Netherlands at large, this sort of thing in a war, just so we can make sure we get as big a Germany as possible. In terms of an update, and let's talk about these texts. In terms of an update, we got an obligation with them, and we are going to absolve it to kick up relations. That way it is going to be a little bit faster. So we're going to absolve. This is maybe a little bit risky because we could just wait, but we want to get them out from being antagonistic. So we're going to absolve, which makes them cordial with us, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, makes rivalry ineligible. So they can't rival us anymore. You see, rivalry is no longer ticking. And so while they are still antagonistic, they're no longer rivaling us. And so they're very likely to update this opinion as well. So we're right next to Pump Jacks, so I'm thinking we might as well do it. I don't think we have a lot of these plantations, though, so maybe not. We can go... I think steel railway car will actually be decent as well. This will increase demand for steel, give us tanker cars. I just, in terms of, like, tech balance, I'm much less certain than I used to be about what was good. Actually, let's go steel frame. We know steel frame's good. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is what we had just gotten, which is, okay, we got the bakeries, that's nice. But this isn't the big deal one. The big deal one is, I think that we are running out of labor here, and we are super mineral focused, and I believe that this one, Steam Donkey, will improve a lot, If railways is worse, as a consequence of rails not giving a lot of transportation and just being a much worse labor-saving method, also you don't need as many rails for infrastructure with local lighting mechanics. I think that steam donkeys will suddenly become a much better tech and will help us save on all this labor, because what it's going to do is it's going to drive up demand for coal. We can satisfy the demand. We're more than happy to satisfy the demand for coal, and so we will be doing that. And so we'll come in here, and now we will take a look in terms of coal mines, where has the most earnings, and if they have a lot of earnings, we're just going to add a smattering of coal mines wherever there's earnings that is looking pretty high. This doesn't take into account wages can be higher, so like this Silesia one, they probably pay higher wages, but at the same time, we're pushing throughput in Silesia, so this is probably pretty good too. But we'll just add a smattering of these to try and make sure that, you know, our things can be relatively profitable. We'll also fix up the PMs because we got some newly acquired states and such. So we see here a sort of reverse sway situation where we take a reverse sway from, however this is pronounced, I apologize, in order to, you know, grab up some British Lindy territory, and Britain was not willing to accept or offer us anything before we swayed against them, but now they're willing to do something because they're spooked or they're scared of us, and so we could ask them for anything, it looks like right now. Really looks like most anything. I guess we can't ask them for some core territory specifically, but the very unreasonable, you know, transfer the East India Company, they will accept this. And so we will just say, hey, why don't you give us the East India Company and we'll help you out with this. Now, we probably don't even need to help them out with it, and we probably don't want to help them out with it because we would prefer... I don't know why we're at war with Gaza now, but okay. I guess we do want to make sure that Gaza doesn't get independent. But we will be getting the East India Company for free. That's no infamy, F-R-E-E, which is going to be, you know, kind of a feature that almost certainly is rolled out within the next couple weeks as they update, you know, kind of the values. But currently you can kind of get these absolutely obscene / absurd kind of sways, reverse sways. But this goes to the overall strategy of trying to have a bunch of native interests in a lot of different regions, which kind of informed our early expansion plan. Like, we don't care if Great Britain loses this war. We, in fact, don't even have to stick in this war. We could just make peace, right? Let's see. Oh, they do have transfer... Wait, what the hell? Target is Gaza. Transfer Gaza, transfer Sind. So I guess they're going to transfer 2 of our subjects. Well, roundabout's fair play, because while this bugginess is a bit of a thing... actually, no, this means... So this is actually very... So we're going to lose our subject of Gaza and Sind, it looks like, as a result of this tomfoolery, because the UK put those transfers in on us before they swayed us, and they somehow stay, but we'll just say, you know what, this is no longer our problem. No war goals get enforced on us immediately, but somehow I have a sneaking suspicion that we are about to lose Sind in the other one, but also we don't really care because we got the East India Company, which is now paying us those fat ducats of, you know, Diplopact, and also they are consuming our goods, which allows us to greater specialize. We're already really specialized on the mines. We can specialize a little bit more. To be fair, local prices kind of undermine that specialization, but this is going to be the idea. Yeah, and we see this kind of rear its ugly head again, where we can't afford, you know, we are getting there to be a shortage of transportation here, which is, you know, and I don't think we need more infrastructure here. We actually might need more infrastructure. I think at some point we do want to pull off this road maintenance that we've had here for some time. So I guess we'll add some railroads with that idea, which will also solve, you know, the problem of not having enough transportation. Also, I think that maybe this makes... Well, so the experimental trains PM is going to give a little bit less transportation than this one. And so maybe it becomes more of a priority, but also, you know, this would give a lot more, that would give a lot more as well. So I guess this makes steel rail cars more of a priority because you get both the steam trains and the steel passenger carriages. Kind of in anticipation of this being an important thing, we see kind of where our economy is, and what we're going to do is we are going to look at, okay, where do we have construction sectors first, because we know we're going to need a lot of steel there. But first, Westphalia, Silesia, and Hesse, we know we're going to need a lot of steel there, but also to a lesser extent, North Rhine. So we are going to add to the queue a whole lot of steel because we want to swap up to the steel frame construction. We're going to start in Westphalia because we have a lot more infrastructure available there. And we're going to add some of this, and then we are also going to add some glass works here, because it does consume glass as well. And we have explosives factories. We're going to set them to auto-expand. We're going to set these to auto... Oh, why are these not employing up? We're just having the good old labor problems. We're going to swap on some PMs. We really do... we would love some more migration is what we would love. I'm sure there's a lot of migration attraction here. Yeah, it's got a pretty high migration attraction. It is pulling pops in, but labor might become a little bit of a problem. We don't even have a tremendous amount of labor, and so we'll try and think of the best way to solve that. You know, just generally multiculturalism. We're pretty far off from multiculturalism, I believe, and I think we do want the steel railway cars to allow us to turn on the labor-saving PMs, but maybe after this we go human rights into feminism, something like this, as far as our tech strategy goes. Okay, so it looks like the peace deal did not take Gaza and Sindh from us, but it also looks like UK won that exchange, which we're overall we don't have too big a problem with this. We made out kind of okay here, getting the Dutch East Indies. Of course, we do have a huge new need for ports, which we have put into the queue. They're behind all this construction, and so we'll be building up the ports to get the port connections between us and the Dutch East Indies here. I apologize, I meant to say the East India Company, but to be honest, it's also the Dutch East Indies, so there is that. So it looks like Austria's relationship with us coming along. We could, in fact, get a trade agreement with them if it were not for the fact that, or allegedly, they are a junior member of the customs union. It's not really, but we do see that the icon is approved because they have gone from being antagonistic to wary, and their change to the customs union is largely driven by the value of the existing customs union, more so than them hating us, because we are amicable. We will move towards friendly, and so it's very likely that we want to maybe try and mix things up a little bit with Russia, so we might start damaging relations with Russia here. We're also going for New Granada, which will give us a native interest up here. US has sided against us, and we probably win this anyways. We also joined China's play with Lanfang in exchange for an obligation, which we will probably try and use to pull them into our customs union sometime down the line, which is going to make it much more priority for us to get a humanitarian so that we can get onto multiculturalism. We obviously can't roll one right now because we don't have the requisite tech, but after steel frame and steel railway cars, we are going to be going for feminism, which will allow us to roll these guys, so that'll be good. Another big thing that this entire line of technologies gives that's probably going to be more significant with local prices is the +5 construction sector max level, which means that this will allow you to build a little bit deeper in terms of local supply chains, and also like creating demand and fulfilling it, because like we built up the iron mines and the coal mines, and then we didn't have enough, you know, now we're oversupplying for the rest of the market, and by doing this we can locally consume, because now we can increase the construction sector. Now we are going to take a look at where we specifically have you know, a good amount of steel, and these are the places we're going to turn on first, and it's going to be Westphalia and Silesia, and so we're going to turn these on first in terms of our construction sectors, and then we're going to let the economy adjust a little bit, and then look to turn on the other ones. And also probably building more construction sectors in these two, although they are experiencing like some labor shortages. Now we have gone to losing some money, and so, but this is super fine. We have an enormous buffer, and we can also deficit spend pretty comfortably here. We have a little Sotho secession coming in, not too big a deal, and we should be getting some kind of push in here. We're gonna move, I think we have like a 52 stack, yeah, we're gonna move this 52 stack over here, and hope that he can push. Maybe we can split, let's try splitting here. So now we have this 13 stack as well that we're going to move here instead. And so both are stay mobilized, and we definitely want to keep some unmobilized so that we can make some landings. We see that no one's coming to the defense here, but this landing is from really far away, so we have to wait for them to come in. But this is just like poor war mechanics. It's probably not worth covering too much. Guaranteed Deliveries is going to be super nice. The way it seems to work is, for people in government, you tend to acquire more, not support, I'm loyalists. There we go, brain. And you can see we are having bonuses on Industrialists, Intelligentsia, and Armed Forces who are in Gov, and the reverse is true for the other group. And so it makes it so that, you know, I have to think through all, like, the effects here, but, like, it does make it so that you know, who you have in government is significant, because it's really hard for us to get the trade unions bonus, for example, without having them in gov. So we might end up wanting to do something like this and pull the industrialists out, but then we don't get the industrialist bonus. And it's really hard to get everyone having a bonus and this sort of thing. I think we're going to go parliamentary republic here, though, now that we've got our, you know, kind of set up a little bit. And we will look to increase the Home Affairs institution, which will hopefully help us with like getting more loyalists and this sort of thing. This war is going all right in New Granada. We look to be winning it. We might enforce on the USA, we might not. Not too big a deal, though. So this is an interesting one. We've sided with France against or for the benefit of the native uprising for war reparations on France, which I think in theory we shouldn't be able to do, because the game mechanics for native uprisings do not allow the insertion of any new war goals, so we are completely invulnerable to any sort of new war goals, but we get a war where we might be getting a ton of war reps and a truce with France, which is kind of like a preferred type thing, and you know, it's looking really good. I think that what we will do is we will probably try and peace out relatively soon here on the US. I think we can get war reps off them. And so we're going to stick in a little bit and try and push them around just a little bit before, you know, trying to scramble back to trying to make sure that we do not get wrecked. So we actually, these guys, at the very least, we're going to move over here. And we're going to need to move a lot of kind of fronts, this sort of stuff to defend here, but I think that this is a interesting maybe exploit slash inflection point where they can't put in obligations on you, it seems, except for they reverse swayed Sicily, 2 Sicilies, which might want an obligation on us. Who knows? Weird stuff going on. So we just invited 3 countries to our customs union, which should be pretty nice. I assume they say yes. Argentina, Great Mongolian State, and Sweden, which is going to give us native interests now that they are considered subjects, which is going to help us to, you know, to kind of expand things out. We're going to put a smattering down and continue on our merry way here. Alright, so we get some steel railway cars, which I think are actually going to make a pretty big deal. We've also been building up our steel capacity anyways, for both the construction sectors and for the anticipating this, but this will give us a lot more transportation, which will hopefully, along with steam trains, allow us to actually turn up some of these PMs, you know, excuse me, allow us to turn up some of these labor-saving PMs, and so, you know, in all of these areas for railways, and, you know, the places that are running out of labor, and so this will hopefully, you know, be helpful. Yeah, we see that transportation still being a little bit expensive here, but we just want to, you know, kind of turn it up. Yeah, geez, we just can't employ up in these places because of, ooh, definitely want steam donkeys there. And so that'll help out, hopefully. Now, these should be subsidized, and so they will require a little bit more labor. So maybe they're not as efficient as we thought, so that'll help out. But also, we've got this kind of weird play going on, weird diplo play, where Great Britain, East India Company sided with Burma, and then Great Britain put in a bunch of transfers, so we definitely wanted to get involved. We see a war get enforced on Tuwat, and now we just have to be careful that they don't take the Rhineland, so joining in this play was a little bit of a miss, because apparently they can't put in war goals on us. They just, like, put them in after the war already started, which was a little bit unfortunate. So I think we're going to be going for, like, a white peace sort of situation here, which is not ideal, and we are about to be fighting the UK, so maybe a little bit sticky, but also the war system's broken, so maybe we can just finagle it. So small little Austria update here. We have gotten another obligation, and I think we might hold on to this obligation. We are bankrolling them, and so we can only get relations up to plus 80 anyways, so we're going to let this wait, and then hopefully maybe, you know, if we get them up to friendly, maybe they pull off of wary, maybe they decide, you know, the customs union of Russia is not that good, maybe we have to fight Russia and slap them around a little in order to get this through to them, this sort of thing, and then we try and get them in the customs union. If they're in our customs union, they will support our bid for Mega Germany, which is kind of what we've been waiting for. We could just click Form Germany. If we got one more state, I guess we could take one off of France at some point, or we could just, you know, wait for Austria here to be supporting us. We get a cross-border investment event with Austria, which is actually going to be pretty nice. We're going to select that, and unfortunately we got really unlucky / bugged out on the France war, but all of our guys somehow unassigned from the front, and so the front that was just the impossible push, do-nothing front that we've experienced multiple times, both with Austria twice and with France once, they just like dumped into us and did a pretty big chunk of, you know, occupation, and so I'm not sure we get to deoccupy them in time. We might switch sides and wipe peace, something like this, because I think that's kind of what would have happened if that had not been the case, but there does seem to be a little bit of a bug where generals will just completely unassign, and so this is unfortunate, but on the flip side, we're just crushing this UK war because we can just land in for free, just as long as our guys are demobilized, and so, you know, what we'll be doing is we'll just be demobilizing the smallest units, and we'll be using them to, you know, create random fronts and this sort of thing, so I mean, we're abusing the bugs, and we're also getting abused by bugs, and so maybe it's all fair, you know, but it is pretty annoying, because we'd rather have it just kind of operate in a coherent way, but these, like, Navy landings, for example, here, we'll just get in for free on everyone, and so, you know, this will be the state of affairs. Hopefully, they'll just be willing to accept white peace in a little bit, but I don't think this is going to be the case. Yeah, they want the Rhineland, my guys. Which is a bit unfortunate. We'll see what we can do about this, though. I had made a mistake earlier in the run, where I said that the base price of hardwood and softwood was the same. I got all mixed up. I got lost in the sauce. And what we have done here is we have actually, which means that the wood PM's efficient, even without pneumatic tools, and so what we've done here is we've swapped everything to hardwood production. Now, this is not profitable right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a whole bunch of furniture manufactories in order to do this sort of stuff. Also, with the France thing, we tried to swap over in white peace, but they weren't allowed to send another peace deal, so we just capitulated. Like, all of our guys as unassigning from the front allowed them to gain the territory that we could not regain because they were on it, and we couldn't decay down their morale because the morale is bugged right now. You know, just like a lot of bugs, just trying to kind of mainly focus on the economics for this run and this sort of stuff, which I think we've done an okay job of. But I believe that we will decide to make an alliance with Austria after we get out of this war with the UK here. You know, we're kind of close to being able to just pull them into the customs union. They have the, you know, the differences and this sort of stuff, and maybe we can get this, but we have an obligation, we have a friendly, and we have max relations kind of that we could possibly get right now with plus 100, so we're not going to declare any wars in any area that they have a strategic interest in, because normally you can only get it to plus 80, but because of that event, we're at plus 100, but we're just trying to get it so that they, you know, and when it comes to the cultures, oh, they do support us anyways. Okay, so then once we're at peace, oh, we don't even need to be at peace? It's fantastic. We can just form Giga Germany right now. So, I mean, a little anticlimactic because we didn't have to do anything to finish this, but we're going to click Form Germany, and we will get the big chonkin Germany here. So this has been the main idea. We, of course, do get German unification completed. Don't mind if I do. And all hail the Chancellor, or, I think we'll take just the Loyalists and get the claim on Alsace-Lorraine, which is going to feel pretty nice, and then we'll just be, I guess, finishing up this war here, / invading with our new battalions and navally landing them. Okay, so I think after that war, we are going to end the episode here. and, you know, also end the run here. And so kind of just do a little bit of a recap. As far as GDP, of course, when we swap sides, it does brick our map, but we have had quite a big come up, just kind of relating us to the rest of the world. Our GDP is considerably larger than everyone else's, except for Great Qing, who hasn't moved that much since game start. You know, overall, the economy seemed more depressed of the AI and this sort of thing, and as a player, you can kind of feel the slowdown of the local prices influencing things, as well as, you know, construction costing 33 to 80% more on all buildings, and so I think that this is a significant nerf, but this is kind of how you form Germany. Just to kind of recap, at least the diplomatic side, you want to improve relations with everyone, bankroll everyone up, get everyone into your customs union before you go for leadership. Then when you get the North German Fed, it'll be a very big North German Fed, and then you need to improve relations with Austria. We've done it pulling them into the customs union, and now we've done it just plus 100 relations, but the idea is from very early you need to de-rival them and improve relations with them in order to try and do this. Also, we've kind of shown a lot of reverse sways. If you can reverse sway them for an obligation, this will be a big deal. Speaking of reverse sways, that's how we've gotten a lot of our bigger things, like transferring the East India Company, the Dutch East Indies. I expect this to be rebalanced, but stuff like the obligation on Great Qing, who once we get our relations above neutral, we almost certainly will be able to pull them into the customs union. Things like these is incredibly valuable and something to keep in mind. Also, kind of new features of 1.5 that we talked about quite a lot is this strategy of building tall in terms of vertical integration in Silesia, where you are the entire chain for more construction you're building in Silesia and Westphalia here at the very start of the game, as Prussia, which I think is very strong and is only strengthened by the companies. Now, I found out since I made the first episode that in fact Krupp is not unique to Prussia, but rather to North Germany, and anyone with specific North German states, and I believe North German culture, I'm not 100% sure on that, can form these companies, but we are making good use of them. We are using the Krupp, which is, the unique one, and then Combine of Metalworks and Metal Mining Consortium, in order to kind of form better feed into our loops. Early on, we did make use of the wood chopping one until we fully exhausted our ability to make use of the construction bonus. Currently, right now, I think the metagame is just swapping around the construction bonus for whatever you're building. We didn't do that. We probably would have a better GDP if we did, because this construction bonus is absolutely huge, but I'm expecting to see that nerfed so that you can no longer do that. We did see some like reverse sway, this type of thing. I think another thing that I maybe didn't emphasize very much throughout was that you start with very little convoys on Prussia, and so this is generally something you have to do something about. We didn't have to do anything about it because the naval landings are broken right now, and we could just get in for free and this sort of thing. But this is something to consider, as well as they start out with a small navy, which is going to make reverse sways a bit harder. Now we have a really big navy after we, integrated with Austria, and so this is kind of how things are. But I think we're going to conclude the run. We have been playing on stream kind of our introductory testing phase we did with Prussia for, patch 1.5, and so we've already played a run where we formed Germany, and so I don't think we're going to continue that. We played that on stream, and so I think that this is just how to form North German Fed into Germany for this run. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and other than that, have a good one.